Hi there and welcome to Distilling in Australia. My name is Nick and today I want to be talking about words and what they mean. Now obviously this is in context with distilling, but I think it's important that I go through a few words and definitions because in my next video I'm actually going to be starting going through the application for a manufacturer's license for distilling products in Australia. So I just thought it was important to at least get the words out there specific for this industry and the meaning, so as in the next video I don't have to extend it by adding these terms or explaining what these terms mean. But as we live in this great country, and as always, here is 5 seconds of your life you will never get back. I know, I'm sorry, but it's just how it has to be. All right, so the first one, we'll start with the list. Now I have my cheat notes as usual, and if you don't realize what happens here, I actually try and do all this in one take. So I'm not going to go away and start and stop and all the rest, so I just don't have time for that. So bear with the mistakes because there'll be a few, and I'll be reading off my cheat notes here as well. So if you happen to be reading any of the statutes in relation to excise and the ATO, you'll see a term or abbreviation of CEO. Now, in most business circles that means Chief Executive Officer, but in the context of distilling industry, it actually means the Commissioner of Taxation. So that's just one item that you need to be aware of. Okay, so the term deliver into Australian domestic market. All right, so what that means is the term is used in the legislation and it's known as deliver for home consumption. Now, normally this will be delivery of the goods away from the excise licensed premises, but also includes using those goods yourself and selling goods for consumption on site, which is a cellar door for argument's sake. All right, so as soon as it leaves your licensed premises, it then becomes liable for excise duties, okay? And of course, if you sell it on site, it's liable for excise duty, and if you consume it yourself, it also means it's liable for excise duties. Now, if you're a small business and you qualify for the rebate, effectively you're paying $10, less than $10 for a litre bottle of alcohol at 40% by the time you get your rebate back. So I don't know about you, but I'm quite happy to pay that. Okay, that's a small price to pay for being able to do this. So yeah, that's one aspect. Excise goods, that's the next one. Those that you're required to pay excise duty on under the Excise Act 1901. Okay, so when they reply to excisable goods, it means any goods that fall under the Excise Act 1901. Excise duty, that's a commodity-based tax on alcohol manufactured or produced in Australia. So basically, if you think of it like a sales tax, okay, so that's essentially what it is. Excise drawback, now it's a repayment of excise duty you've paid, whether directly or in the purchase price, on goods that you subsequently exported. So for argument's sake, you might be a distiller and you might sell your unbonded product to a licensed blender, for argument's sake, and that blender would pay excise on that product, but he may also export part of that product. So if he's paid the excise on that product, he can get a rebate or what they call a drawback. Excise licensed premises. Now that is the one that is licensed by the Australian Tax Office under the Excise Act. The premises covered will be specified on the excise license. So what part of the whole license process, which you'll see next week, is you have to nominate the actual address, and that becomes the condition of your excise license, manufacturer's license. Okay, excise refund. Okay, now excise refund is different to an excise drawback. And an excise refund is a refund you can claim from the Australian Tax Office for excise duty you have paid on goods delivered for domestic consumption in certain circumstances. So you actually have to qualify for the excise refund, and I'll be doing a bit more research into that, and I'll actually be doing a separate video on that particular topic so we all know exactly what the criteria to be eligible for that refund, because as micro distillers that is a crucial part of the whole process. Okay, excise remission. Okay, now an excise remission is a waiver of the excise duty payable generally because the excisable goods cannot be delivered into the Australian domestic market. Okay, so that's basically an exemption on in certain circumstances. The term excise license, an excise license enables you to legally manufacture, produce and or store excisable goods, ergo distilled alcohol. So that's what an excise license will allow you to do. Home consumption. Now, home consumption refers to the destination of the excisable goods as being within Australia rather than exporting them. Okay, so it's either they're available in the country or you're going to export them. If they get exported, they're not subject to excise duties, but if they are purchased within Australia, then they are. Okay, movement permission. Now, a movement permission enables you to legally move underbonded excisable goods between excise licensed premises or to a place of export. So there's that word underbond, and I'll get to that in a second. Okay, periodic settlement permission, or PSP, and that allows you to deliver excisable goods into the Australian domestic market over a specified period, which they refer to as the settlement period, and allows you to defer when you lodge your excise return to pay the excise duty until a specified date. Now, that's probably more so relevant to the large commercial distilleries, not so much to us or to me as a micro distiller. Underbond. Okay, underbond is excisable goods are underbond until the required excise duty has been paid on them. So in other words, it's just a term to define your distilled products as unpaid excise, okay, because what happens is whilst the duty remains unpaid, your distilled products, even though you own those distilled products, they are under the control of the Australian Tax Office, and you actually need the Australian Tax Office permission to legally move them between excise licensed premises or place of export. All right, so although you own your own product, you're not allowed to move it around without letting the taxation office know, because they are effectively in control of your product until that excise has been paid. Okay, concessional spirit. So a concessional spirit typically is a very high strength spirits that are excise free when used for concessional purposes or made unfit for human consumption, which is also known as denatured. And I'm going to be referring to denatured in the next video as well. So that's something that we all need to know about. It's an important point. So a concessional purpose, concessional purposes is for argument's sake, some medical supplies, those sorts of things. But as a micro distiller, that's really not going to apply to us. LAL, and that's an abbreviation for total litres of pure alcohol contained in a product. So if you have a litre of 40% proof product, then 0.4 of a litre is actually the pure alcohol content, and you pay tax on the 0.4 of the litre, not on the whole litre. Okay, and the LAL calculation is used to, the LAL amount is used to calculate excisable duty, as I've just explained. Okay, manufacturing. When the tax office refers to manufacturing, of an excisable alcoholic product, they mean all processes used to produce them. So that goes right down to your fermentation, distillation, your blending, all the processes involved until you get your product out to the marketplace. That's all part of the manufacturing process. Other excisable beverages. So they call them OEBs. All right, so that beverages containing more than 1.15% alcohol by volume, excluding beer, brandy, or wine, or other excisable beverage, or other excisable beverages. Spit it out, Nick. Including liquors, pre-mixed spirit-based drinks, like those Alco Pops that we were on the news a few years ago, and fermented products that aren't beer or wine, for example, a cider, okay, that's over. They're all part of, captured under the Excise Act, but they're known as OEBs. Now, that's all I wanted to go through today, is just those few terms and definitions, because people hear these new words and you sort of think, oh my god, what does all this mean? And it's really quite straightforward if you just delve into a little bit and look for the explanation. So if you're watching this to the end, thank you very much. Please subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything and it helps the channel so much. Share the videos with friends. There is nothing illegal about watching how-to videos. And I hope you're enjoying the journey. I'm enjoying doing this. It does take up a bit of my time. In the next video, which I'm hoping to get out in the next few days, I'll give you an update on the run sheet. Until next time, ciao. Distilling alcohol is illegal in Australia unless you hold the appropriate licenses and permits. I am not a lawyer, and the contents of this video are not intended to be legal advice. Do not rely on any information contained in this video and seek your own professional legal advice before making any decisions. Be aware, the Australian Tax Office and local law enforcement agencies will be taking interest in this channel due to its content. Please keep this in mind before posting any comments. Any comments posted are the opinion of the person posting and not of this channel. Let's get started.